Jason asks, Bobby, do you readjust your gain staging after you EQ all the tracks within your mix? Also, how do you go about editing vocals?
All right, Jason, these are actually really great questions, and I'm happy you asked them because I've been doing this for a long time, and sometimes I lose sight of just basic things that I kind of take for granted just because, again, I've been doing it for so long. So to answer your first question, you brought up a good point. Let's say you have a nice, rough mix going, right, with no EQ. Then you apply your EQ should you change your overall balance. In my opinion, change anything that sounds like it needs to be tweaked. So for example, in general, when I do a rough mix, I do all of my high passing on all of my main tracks, and then I set an overall balance. But sometimes once I cut frequencies or boost frequencies, I might have to adjust some of these tracks, and the same thing goes for compression. Let's say I have my overall rough drum mix going, and I decide to hit my snare drum with a little more compression. I might have to readjust the level of my snare drum in my drum mix. So the way I see it is I try not to follow any set rule. I get a great mix going or great balance going. I apply my EQ and compression, and if anything needs to be tweaked, I simply just tweak whatever needs to be tweaked. In other words, I don't set my balance and say, I'm never touching this balance ever again. I always allow a little bit of wiggle room to achieve the best results. Now, as far as editing vocals is concerned, I really only focus on two different things: timing and pitch. Now, timing is rarely an issue, to be honest with you, if you're working with a vocalist that's a halfway decent musician. Sometimes I'll have to tighten up doubles, but for the most part, it's not as much of a big deal as, let's say, drum quantizing sometimes is in technical metal or guitar editing or bass editing, because vocals are sitting on top of your mix, so they don't have to be absolutely dead on to the grid. But with that being said, if I am recording a singer that pushes the beat or is behind the beat, I'll certainly edit the timing. Or if I'm recording doubles and they're kind of out of sync, of course I will edit these. Now, the second way I edit vocals is, again, when it comes to adjusting pitch. Let's say I'm recording a clean vocalist that needs a little bit of help in the pitch correction department. I'll pull up Melodyne and fix whatever needs to be fixed. And I just want to say this: just because you're using pitch correction does not mean you have to completely make all of your vocal tracks sound like, a cheesy hip hop track with a ton of auto-tune. Mixing and production is an art form, and it all comes down to your own personal preferences. The way that I like to use pitch correction is I only correct the things that stand out to me. Unless I'm working with a band that actually wants that auto-tune sound on purpose, which, believe it or not, back in the day when Gent first broke out, I actually had people wanting this sound, but luckily that's kind of died down and people just want their vocals to sound natural. And again, I'll only pitch correct the things that sound pitchy to me. And this is how I edit vocal tracks. Super simple. An excellent question. Now, if you're looking to improve the sound of your mixes, it's critical to have a firm grasp on solid EQ and compression techniques. And this is why I'm offering you direct access right now for absolutely free to my crisp and clear heavy mix formula. The heavy mix formula is comprised of three main components: an EQ and compression cheat sheet that contains all of my starting points when it's time to mix a heavy production. Within the cheat sheet, there are clickable links to private mixing tutorials for all of the main instruments within a heavy production. And finally, there's a clickable link below each of the individual tutorials so you could download the exact same multi-tracks that I'm using so you can mix along with me. Again, the crisp and clear heavy mix formula is absolutely free, and there's a link below that you can click and you can have direct access right now. And until next time, happy mixing.